Giving me an up-close and personal view. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the JoAnne Powell Show. I am JoAnne. We are coming to you from the World Center of Broadcast Media, WCOBM, Hollywood. Thank you for joining us. There's a lot going on in the news today. We have just found out that former President George W. Bush and his wife, Barbara Bush, have been taken to the hospital with pneumonia. That is pretty much all we know at this point. We definitely want to send out our thoughts and prayers to the Bush family. And just recently, President Obama has just wrapped up his farewell and his final news conference with the White House press corps. Obama basically was doing this as a way to acknowledge the significance of the press corps in American democracy and the fact that it's very important to have the freedom of the press. And even sometimes during his administration, he didn't necessarily agree with all that the press had to say about him or print about him, but it was the key significance, and it's the purpose and the responsibility of the press to do what they need to do when it comes to covering officials of government and keeping everyone accountable, that it's important for the press corps to be there in their role. Another component, one of the several things that President Obama talked about also dealing with us as a nation. We have a lot of racial issues going on. We've made a lot of strive in our country, but there's still more work to be done, and we have to be inclusive and work together and have our differences work in our favor and not ways to separate us. And when it comes to our voting in this country, democracies are supposed to make voting easy, but for some reason in this country we have a big problem when it comes to voting, and it seems we're making things more difficult for people to get to the polls versus more convenient, and that's something that he would like to see worked on moving forward as we head into this new administration, and that specifically deals with the Voter Act, the Voting Rights Act. So that's a little bit about what's happening. It's been going on, within the last hour. Things are happening and working very quickly, and we only have 2 days away before President-elect Trump will actually be sworn into office. But there is a growing number of members of Congress who are boycotting the inauguration. We have more than 50 Democratic lawmakers who basically are saying that they will not be attending the inauguration. Many say that they're boycotting is because of the rift between Trump and Congressman John Lewis. That basically this happened over the Martin Luther King Day weekend, and that was the last straw for them. This is something that's unprecedented also, because usually lawmakers do not boycott an inauguration because of political issues, but that's something that is happening, and we are headed in that direction. Let's take a look and listen. It started when Congressman John Lewis criticized Donald Trump. Lewis questioned Trump's legitimacy as our nation's next president and said he planned on boycotting Trump's inauguration.
I don't see this president-elect as a legitimate president. I think the Russians participated in helping this man get elected.
Trump fired back, tweeting, "Lewis is all talk, 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 no action or results." Lewis, a civil rights icon, was severely beaten while crossing the Edmund Pettus Bridge. He embraced Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s dream and marched beside him during the civil rights movement. This war on words has led some 50 Democratic Congress members to opt out of Trump's inauguration. Republicans like North Dakota's John Hoeven say inaugurations should be above politics.
Regardless of who wins, we all need to support our Constitution.
Vice President-elect Michael Pence is hoping Lewis will reconsider and attend the inauguration. He also wants Lewis to recognize that Trump legitimately won the election.
To use terms like this is not a legitimate president. It's just deeply disappointing to me, and I hope he reconsiders it.
But President-elect Trump has been accused of doing the same thing for years. When President Obama was elected, he publicly questioned whether he was even born in this country and if he had the right to be president at all.
He could have been born in Kenya, could have been born, some people think, Indonesia. Why doesn't he show the birth certificate?
So what do you think I should do? Go to the inauguration or not?
Constituents of Congresswoman Karen Bass of Los Angeles answered loud and clear. 84% say stay home.
Some people are telling me I shouldn't just focus on Trump. I need to focus on the office of the presidency. But let me just tell you, that's a big hill to climb right now.
A big hill indeed, as many look to find common ground in what some characterize as a very divided versus United States of America. This boycott comes when actually President-elect Donald Trump has his lowest approval rating. Actually, it's the lowest of any modern-day president going into a new term. And on the other side, for President Obama, actually, he's leaving the office at a very high approval rating. It's actually 60% for President Obama. The several polls out now show that Trump, with an average of 41% of Americans support approving that of Trump's transition, and 52% don't think that he's doing a good job during this transition. And of course, as one would expect, Trump has pushed back on Twitter, and he said this: the same people who did the polling on the election polls and were so wrong, and now doing approval rating polls, they are rigged and just like before. So that's something that's not terribly out of his character, as we know from the story that we just did and a lot of things prior to that. He uses Twitter as a way to communicate with the American people. So moving forward, we'll see what happens. And of course, the inauguration, there will be very tight security on what is taking place there. Well, joining me now via the telephone is Preston Foster. He is associate professor and a director of public policy program at Oakwood University. I'd like to thank you for joining me today.
It's always a pleasure being with you.
Well, let's just jump right in there. What are your thoughts about this kind of unprecedented boycott of so many members of Congress who are not going to show up because of the rift between President-elect Trump and civil rights icon, civil rights leader and icon, Congressman John Lewis?
Well, candidly, JoAnne, I know I'm supposed to be objective and rational, etc. But for me, personally, talking about John Lewis the way that President-elect Trump did is, for me, the last straw. It's indicative of either his ignorance or his conscious hostility towards the black community. Because for many of us, especially those of kind of my age, children of the dream, people who were alive during the civil rights era, who came of age during its wake and benefited most from it. John Lewis is not only an icon, but he's a saint. And to speak about him specifically the way Mr. Trump did, to say that he's all talk and no action, literally discounts everything he did, including being bashed over the head at a police riot at the Edmund Pettus Bridge in 1965.
Yes.
So for many African Americans and for many white Americans and others who are both conscious and sympathetic with the civil rights struggle, what was said about Representative Lewis is just unconscionable. But the kind of thing that we have learned to expect from Mr. Trump, which says to us going into an administration headed by Jeff Sessions and Mike Pence at the point of the spear, that their intentions for this community are not good.
Because I know he was saying, give him, everybody's saying give him a chance, and that's what he was telling the American people during the election. We are going to have to take a quick break. We'll continue our discussion when we come back. You're watching the JoAnne Powell Show.
If you are an adult that began college and has not finished your college degree, let me put it to you straight. If your lifestyle and your standard of living is not becoming to you, then you should be coming to us, Oakwood University LEAP program. We are the fast, flexible adult degree completion program for the busy adult, like you.
Register today. Go to oakwoodleap.com or call 256-726-7098. It's time to leap.
For years, people have trusted McKay's Family Mortuary. We're part of your community and we'll take care of the details. We offer a variety of memorial services, including sea scattering and cremation. According to the Federal Trade Commission, the average funeral cost is over $9,000. We have complete funeral chapel service starting at only $31.25, casket included. Direct cremation starting at only $9.95. Visit one of our 5 locations and meet our caring and diverse staff. McKay Family Mortuary. Let us be the shoulder to lean on.
Thanks to Oakwood University and the LEAP program, I have now a college degree. So to the Spanish-speaking members of this community who feel that the LEAP program is something you should consider, I would say, ánimo a la universidad. Considere el programa LEAP de Oakwood University.
Go to oakwoodleap.com or call 256-726-7098.
Seize the Day Scuba for your best scuba experience above and below the sea. You'll find friendly staff, experienced PADI certified instructors, and state-of-the-art scuba equipment and gear. Join our dive club and we'll help you plan memorable scuba excursions. Immerse yourself. Seize the Day Scuba, serving Southern California. Call 949-220-0500 to create your scuba experience.
When I first started into the program, yes, I had doubts. I was really impressed with Oakwood University, with the faculty and the staff and the student body. It was a really good experience, and I would definitely recommend it to anyone who was thinking about going back and finishing their degree.
Register today. Go to oakwoodleap.com or call 256-726-7098.